You walk past the coffee shop where you never applied. Drive by the apartment you never rented. Scroll past the message you never sent. There's a whole map of places where other versions of you lived, briefly, quietly, almost. The musician who became an accountant, the writer who chose law school, the conversation that almost changed everything. We carry them all. These phantom selves. These lives that flickered into possibility and then didn't. You know this feeling, this weight of proximity to other worlds. Why am I stuck in the what if mindset when the life I am living is right here? But maybe the question isn't about the life you're living. Maybe it's simpler. Why do we carry versions of ourselves we never became? There is a term for when amputees feel sensation in limbs that are no longer there, phantom limb syndrome. The brain insists on feeling what was lost. But what about the limbs we never grew? You lie awake at 3 a man. The life where you took that job in another city feels more real than the bed you were lying in. The version of you who said yes to the date, who applied to graduate school, who kept playing piano, they were so vivid you can almost touch them. Meanwhile, your actual life feels thin, like you're watching it through glass. This is the what if mindset, not just wondering about other paths, but living in them. Your unlived lives have weight. They take up space. They cast shadows over every choice you make in this one. The cruel mathematics of it, potential feels infinite while reality feels small. The person you could have been feels more vivid than the person you are, more brave, more true, more possible. We're mourning potential that was never promised to us, grieving relationships that existed only in our imagination, feeling the ache of doors we chose not to walk through as if they were deaths, and maybe they were, because when you chose one path, 1,000 others went dark. You feel their absence like missing organs, like phantom limbs reaching for phantom lives. The ache isn't just nostalgia. It is the weight of carrying all the people you never became. You have 17 tabs open, 3 job applications half finished, a graduate school brochure bookmarked from 2 years ago, a flight to another country saved in your cart. You tell yourself you're keeping your options open, but really you're afraid. This is the trap of potential. When everything feels possible, nothing feels urgent enough to choose. Your fear of choosing the wrong path has become a fear of choosing any path at all. We live in an age of infinite doors. Every career pivot is one Google search away. Every life change feels achievable if only you had the courage. But courage isn't the problem. The problem is that choosing means closing, and closing feels like dying. So you carry them all, the entrepreneur self and the academic self, the artist and the stable job haver, the adventurer and the one who stays home. You maintain entire ecosystems of potential selves, feeding them just enough attention to keep them alive. But keeping every door open means you never fully walk through any of them. This is ambition anxiety in its purest form, not the fear of failure, but the fear of choosing one success over another. The fear that commitment is betrayal, that settling on one path means admitting you're ordinary, singular, finite. The cruelest irony, the more possibilities you preserve, the less possible your life becomes. You're so busy maintaining the illusion of infinite choice that you forget to actually live. Freedom, it turns out, isn't about keeping every door open. It is about having the courage to close most of them. There's no funeral for the life you didn't live. No flowers for the person you never became. No gathering where people acknowledge what was lost. When you tell someone you're sad about the path you didn't take, they say, "But look at everything you have," as if gratitude and grief can't coexist. As if being thankful for this life means you can't mourn the others. Society celebrates the choice you made, the job, the marriage, the move, but it has no space for the quiet ache that follows, the recognition that choosing one thing meant unchoosing everything else. So you carry this grief alone. You re-stuck between who I am and who I could be, caught in the liminal space between what is and what might have been. Neither fully here nor fully there. The weight of it sits in your chest like a stone you can't name. Friends tell you to live without regret. But this isn't regret, this is something deeper. Grieving the life you never lived isn't about wishing you made different choices. It is about mourning the versions of yourself that had to die for this version to exist. The loneliness isn't just in the feeling, it's in having no language for it. No ritual, no recognition that this kind of loss is real. Because how do you explain missing someone you never were? How do you grieve a life that existed only in possibility? The ache doesn't mean you chose wrong. It means you're human. It means you understand the weight of what it costs to become anyone at all. Every decision is a small murder. When you say yes to one job, a dozen other selves die quietly in the background. The teacher self, the artist self, the one who would have moved to Berlin and learned German and fallen in love with someone whose name you, never know. You feel their deaths like a physical thing, a tightening in your chest, a weight in your stomach. Because choosing means killing, and we're not ready to be killers. That you could still be a writer because you have a half-finished novel in a drawer. That you could still move abroad because you bookmark apartments in cities you'll never visit. So instead, we keep them on life support. You maintain the illusion that you could still be all of them. That the door to medicine is still open because you keep your biology textbooks. You're haunted by the fear that choosing this life means betraying all the others. Like becoming someone specific means accepting that you're no one else. That keeping every possible self alive is exhausting. You respread so thin across all your potential selves that none of them, not even the one you're actually living, gets your full attention. The cruel mathematics of it, we resist commitment because it feels like diminishment. But here is what we do and realize, this fear of letting other selves die. What if the ache isn't the problem? What if almost is not emptiness, but a signal? Look at the geography of your almosts. The lives you never lived, the paths you didn't take, they're not random. They point towards something. The musician you never became reveals how much you value creative expression. The traveler who stayed home shows you how deeply you crave freedom. The lover you never called maps the territory of your heart. Your unlived lives aren't failures, they're a constellation of your deepest values, scattered across the sky of possibility. We think mourning potential is dwelling in the past, but maybe it's the opposite. Maybe grieving the life you never lived is how you finally make space for the one you chose. Because here at you walk past the coffee shop where you never applied. But now you notice you also walk past the life you're actually living, the choices that brought you here. The version of yourself that did choose. The map of almost will always exist. Those phantom selves, those unlived lives, they're not going anywhere. But maybe they don't need to. Maybe they were never meant to be destinations. Maybe they were just directions. Why do we carry versions of ourselves we never became? Perhaps because we haven't fully arrived at the version we are. The geography of almost isn't a prison, it's a compass. And every ache, every almost, every path not taken, they all point toward the same place, here, where you are. Who you chose to become,